What's up, everybody? All right, so as promised, we're gonna do an oil change on the 899 Ducati Panigale. These are the things that you'll need. You'll need the 4mm Allen, 3mm Allen extension for the oil filter. You don't really need it, I don't think, but it's better to have. You're gonna need an 8mm for the oil filter, a 14mm for the oil plug. You probably will need an extension for that one. And then you're gonna need 15W50 for the actual oil. This is what most people are using. It looks like I've called Ducati and forums, and it looks like they're using this. The recommended is the Shell 4T 15W50. So read your owner's manual. The oil filter, make sure you have your O-rings and the drain plug washer. And you're gonna need your torque wrenches as well to make sure everything's torqued to spec. And then some foil, just so that oil doesn't get everywhere when we pull out the actual oil filter. All right. All right, so I know I didn't mention it before, but you'll obviously need the oil drain pan that's over there on the other side, if you can see it. So, but these are gonna be for the 3mm, just to take this off. So they're gonna be 4 up here. So just to show you. It's gonna be 1, 2, 3, and then this one down here. This plastic piece right here, I don't know if you can see it. Make sure you keep that because it protects the paint. Because remember, these 899s don't have any clear coat, so. Then there's gonna be, let me kind of zoom out. There's gonna be this one right here. That one's gonna be your 4mm. And these are different sizes. Well, the ones that went right here, these are one size, but this one and then the other ones that I'm about to show you are different sizes. So make sure you're kind of putting those in your special place. Okay, under here, I'm actually gonna take the camera away from me. There's one right underneath this one right here. That one's gonna be your 4mm. Ow. If I can make a video without actually hitting my head, it'll be a miracle. So this is your 4mm as well. Okay, so that pops off right there. And then you have one more right here, which I think is actually the 3mm. Let me see. Nope, that one's a 4 as well. So both on the bottom are 4s. This one, when we're putting it back in, I'll show you, you have to pay attention to make sure you get it between the fairing, like the actual plastics, and then the other kind of plastic part of the bike. But I'll show you that one. Okay, now that those are off, it's actually right here. So that's the last one. Let's see what size that is. Keep my camera on it. That one is so that one's gonna be a 3. I'll put my foot here just in case the whole fairing falls, which I don't think it will. And then put that one in your special place. Okay, now those are all of the camera setup. Okay, so that should just pull off. Can't remember which one I did. Let me see. So I'm trying not to scratch the peg. Oh, on this side, this upper side here, there's kind of like a slide thing. So you have to slide it back and then it comes off. So don't break that clip. You shouldn't, but just be careful. And then remember the bottom one that I was telling you about, that has to slide out. I don't mean to make this more complicated, but this has to slide out this way. And then the whole thing kind of just falls off. So Make sure you put that in a good place where it's not gonna get scratched up. Okay, so this right here, where is it? Right there, that's your oil filter. Okay, so you're gonna get your 8mm and your extension. And, oh my gosh. And you're gonna go ahead and break that loose. And this is where your handy dandy foil comes in. Because that's going to want to go everywhere. Alright, get your little oil catcher, whatever you may be using. This is my reliable. Alright, so we already broke those loose. That's going to be, and it's going to try to drip all over that. So try not to get it over that wire. Well, it really doesn't matter. Just wipe the wire down whenever you're... Now, here is the kicker. Because I did see another YouTube video where they were pulling these with pliers. Probably don't do that. What you can do is... Okay, so what you can do is get some other... I don't know what millimeter these are, honestly. There we go. I don't know what millimeter these are, but the way they do it, I believe at Ducati, is put these in the threads, and they only have to be kind of hand tight, only a couple threads in. Put that in there. Put that in there. And then get your handy dandy pliers and kind of work them out. All right, this is kind of overkill, but I couldn't find my other pliers. But anyway, grab these. Da, 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 da. And then you kind of, oh, bike is rolling. If it's easier to do this with the bike on the ground, then definitely put the bike on the ground before you kind of jack it up. But anyway, that pulls right out. And then this, make sure you replace these O-rings. And as for getting the actual filter out, what you want to do, all right, so to get the actual filter out, I have my little pick tools. You can get these for a couple bucks. Get in there. Let me see. Just pulls out like that. So this is the old filter. You can check to see if you have any like metal flakes or anything. Ducatis usually do have metal flakes in there. That's coming straight from the dealer, but that's why you have your Desmo services, and I think the 750 mile service and things like that. So they usually deal with that. Remember, you're not really supposed to, I don't want to say you're not really supposed to work on them, but the manual wants them, the Ducati dealer, to work on it. All right. Okay, so now I'm gonna go get the front bike stand to jack the bike up just a little bit more, because as you can see, the oil pan doesn't fit underneath the bike. And then once I do that, we'll crack the drain plug and we'll start draining the oil. All right, we're back on the right side of the bike. As you can see, I have my front stand there just to raise it up a little higher to get the oil pan to slide underneath the bike. Let me show you where the actual bolt is. So it's gonna be right there. That's the 14. So let's crack that loose. You actually don't need an extension. Probably be easier if you don't have it. And that oil is leaking from the filter. Sorry, I'm trying to get this shot. Okay. well, it's cracked loose, so probably do it with my hand now. Let's get this. Let's see if you can get right in between everything. Sorry, I'm trying to get my hand in there and hold the camera. Okay. All right. Well, that made a mess, but it's okay. Let that drain. Another thing that I did was I warmed the bike up just a little bit to let it drain better and faster. So let that drain until it stops draining, and then we'll come back. It's already starting to slow down. And then we'll come back and tighten everything to spec, and then put the filter on and add some oil. All right, so as the oil drains, we can put the new O-rings on, which are these. I just took the old ones off. Super easy, just get a small little flathead, kind of take it off, but we'll put the bottom one on first. Be careful with them because I don't really think they're brittle or anything, but you only get two, so. Super easy, now you have a new set of rings. I put a little bit of oil on them just to lubricate them. By the way, this goes in there. There's only one way that it goes in, so don't worry about if you put it in upside down, because you probably won't. So all right, so that's the oil change. So this is the plug, drain plug, and you can see it has a little bit of metal flakes on it, which is completely normal. This is a magnet, by the way, at the tip, so it's supposed to catch all the metal flakes. I've seen oil changes with a lot more, so completely normal. And this is the new washer. Just put this over this. Let's see. And then install it. Same way you took it off, just reverse basically. Don't cross thread it, of course. Let's see. I'm gonna have to move this, so I'll make a little bit of a mess, but it's okay. You have to feel around in there and find the hole. Some of y'all might be a little bit more familiar with that than others. So don't cross thread it, just take your time, be patient. And then eventually it will take, which it is now. Okay. So you can tighten it with the ratchet. Just wipe it for all the excess oil. Keep that over there because we still have the oil plug or the oil filter open. You can tighten it with this, you know, hand tight. Don't over torque it or anything. Just a bit, and then get your torque wrench or torque ratchet or whatever it's called. This, you're gonna set it to, so for the drain plug, it's 14 Newton meters, and that's about 10.2 foot-pounds. So I'm gonna set it to 10.2. Okay, so the 10 is gonna be right, okay, that's 10. Oh, where are you? Okay, that's 10. To show you again, the bottom line is how you read these things. So when it zeroes out, that's 10. Just a little bit over 10, but that's going to be your torque specs. So put the 14 on it. And let's do, and this actually might be too big, so we might need an extension, but yeah, on this one we need an extension. So your handy dandy extension. How am I doing? Okay. Then you put the 14 on. Okay, now torque it down. Until you hear it click. Okay, that's the click. So that's 10. And then we'll go around to the other side and do the filter. All right, back to the filter. So this is our new filter here. Put a little bit of oil around the black parts. And then slide that. So it's going to be black part facing inwards. And then it'll snap in like that. And you'll know that it's all the way in because you can kind of see some grooves. Those grooves right there underneath, that's how you know it's all the way in. Okay. So again, this only goes in one way. You can't, here I'll show you. If you try to fit it in upside down, it's not gonna work. All right, I'm gonna give you all a different angle so I can work some magic. So again, make sure these are kind of lubed up. It's gonna be a little bit harder just because there are new O-rings on it. And if you wiggle it in, it'll seat almost perfectly right on there. The bike's on the stand, so I don't want to push too hard, but if it's not closing all the way, you can start threading the bolts in. Don't cross thread them. Should be able to twist them in by hand almost all the way. That's how you know they're not cross-threaded. This one's feeling a little thickums, so I'm gonna take that one out, put it back in. Make sure it's not cross-threading. And it'll gently kind of work its way back on. Again, it's going to be tighter if you replace the O-rings. If you don't replace the O-rings, it's not going to be as tight. And here, I'll show you what it'll look like. So there should be no gap underneath. It's completely sealed. There's no gaps on either side. So now you kind of get your little torque wrench and make sure it's torqued on there correctly. So this one's 13 Newton meters, so that's about, if I do the math correctly, it's like 9.52 foot-pounds or something like that. So as long as so that was clicking right there. So you really don't need it that tight. again, those seals pretty much do most of the job. So now that everything's tight and torqued, let's fill it up. Let's fill the oil up. All right, so on to the fun part. Remove the oil-filled cap. And then I picked up this oil funnel for like $1 at Harbor Freight, something like that. All right, so the manual says fill to 3.9 liters, but I'm assuming that's if you drain every single ounce of oil, which nobody does. I mean, that's probably like brand new bike specs. So I'm gonna fill it up to 3.5, and then we're gonna run it and check it, and then we're just gonna top it off from there. So again, the 15W50. It smells really sweet, like a syrupy sweet. Take my word for it, don't drink it. And if you do overfill it, check out my other video. It'll be right there, right there. Check out that video to show you how to take out a little bit of oil without actually removing the drain plug and doing the whole process over again. Okay, so let's see how much we have left. Let's see if you guys can see that. It's probably at like, what does it say? 1 liter left, if I'm holding it right. So we'll do about another half. Oh, it's dripping. This stuff is like green. I don't know if y'all can see that. It's green. All right, let's see where we're at now. So hold it straight up. It's about 3.4 that I put in so far. Let me put a little bit more. All right, I would say that's about right. It's about 3.5, I'd say. Okay. The sight glass will be full, just because it hasn't cycled through anything yet. Where'd it go? Right there, if you can see it. It's full right now. But, right there. But once it cycles through, then it'll get to the right level. So let's cycle it. I called Ducati, they said warm it up to basically until the fan comes on, and then check it immediately, and that will give you your real rating. The manual says if you check it cold, then it should be in between the two lines, closer to the max, but we just changed the oil. So let's warm it up and then we'll come back. All right, so before you start it, make sure you've wiped everything clean, like the oil filter area and the oil plug area, so you can check it for leaks. I'm gonna make sure, okay, make sure it's in neutral. And then you can see here, once I start it, you'll be able to see the fluid kind of go away and start cycling through. If I can find the start button. Okay, if you guys can see that. So we've warmed it up to temperature, and then you guys, if the light will work, can see where the oil's at. So, and it depends on perspective, but it's just sitting above the bottom line. So we'll add a little bit more, and it should be good. I already checked everything for leaks, and then we'll just put it back together the way that we took it apart. All right, so this is the fun part. So you have to really pay attention because, let me put this down. Don't fall. Okay, so there's gonna be a little thing right here on this side. I don't know, it's not really a clip, but the bottom fairing has to slide up into that. Simultaneously, you need to make sure the top of this part of the top of the white part of the fairing here, this part that's really dirty that I need to clean, is gonna sit right on top, while that part is gonna sit on the bottom, all while sliding this part inside. So let me put the camera on the tripod and see if we can put this into action. Let's see. So what you should start off by doing is sliding this part underneath it first. So it's gonna basically slide like this. And that part that I was telling you about over on this side, make sure that slides underneath and it'll slide into place. Again, everything has to be lined up or it won't go in. Okay, so that's slid in. Since that's slid in, make sure your bottom piece now is going on top. And now the fairings are in place. So all you do is put your small bolts in here, and then I don't want to make this video too long, so put these 4 bolts in. Don't forget the one in the back right here. The bottom one right here. The other bottom one right here, right there. And then this one over here. So if you got any type of use or knowledge out of this video or it helped you with your bike, please give me a thumbs up and a like and drop a comment. Thanks.